Okay, hello, welcome to part 2 of the analysis of the poem City Jungle. Okay, in the first part we did the annotation and the analysis of the poem, so I'm going to call that part 1. Okay, so we do the analysis and we annotate. If you haven't seen that tutorial, you can go back and have a look at it now. So that's the thing that we do first, is we analyze and annotate. Okay, and then the second thing that we do is we organize. Okay, and this is probably equally important. So in terms of time, I suggested we spend about 15 minutes of our time doing the analysis and the annotation, and then we want to spend another sort of 5 to 10 minutes max organizing our thoughts from the analysis and our annotation, which sort of puts all of the analysis and annotation into a sort of structure, and that structure is then going to help us to do the final part, which is to answer the question, and that's going to be using Peel, the point, example, elaboration, and link method. And if we've used 20 to 30 minutes on the preparation, it leaves us with about 20 to 30 minutes to write out the answer. Doesn't sound like a lot, but I think you'll find that you've done most of the work already, so it's basically just writing out neatly your organized thoughts. Okay, so that's what we've done so far. That's where we are so far. So let's clear this screen, and then we go back to the organization of our thoughts. Okay, now when we did the analysis and the annotation, we used the toolkit, Whitby. When we come to do the organization, we can pull any of those parts, what we've discovered, what we think is the most important things, and then we can list those down. So I think, based on our analysis, I think it's very important that we probably start with the poetic devices. Okay, and one of the things is personification. So if you look at the poem, there's a lot of personification there, and I mean the examples that we can give are, the radiators grinning, for example. Radiators grin. We've got another one which is headlights stare. So we make a note of that. And then we've got another one, let's say another one, which is motorbike. Motorbike snarls. Okay, and personification, all the poetic devices, what we need to remember is that the poet has chosen all of these tools to create an effect. So, personification is giving human qualities or reactions to inanimate objects. Why does a poet use it? It's to enhance the emotion, the mood, the feeling that the reader has when he's reading the poem, to engage the reader more, to create strong images in the reader's mind. So that's why personification is used. Okay, and then strongly related to this, I think, and in this case it's actually probably true that most of the metaphors are personification, but we're going to list down some other metaphors. For example, lizard cars. And again, this is pulling from the annotation that you did in the last tutorial. hunched house. Or hunched houses. And another one, let's have another one, newspapers shuffle. Oops, newspapers shuffle. Okay, so those are all metaphors that I used, and the effect again is to create strong imagery in the reader's mind by using figurative language, something that is meant to symbolize something else. So lizard cars, hunched houses, newspapers shuffling. Another poetic device that the poet has used is alliteration here. Okay, and some examples of alliteration: gutter gargles, cars cruise. So let's just write down some of those: cars cruise, gutter gargles, and what was the other one? Hunched house, that's it. Hunched houses. Okay, so cars cruise, gutter gargles, hunched houses. Okay, examples of alliteration. What's the effect, or what is the intended use of alliteration? Well, it's to focus attention, to draw the reader's focus into those words which rhyme, to add sort of the rhythm and mood of the poem, to make them more memorable. They can be, soft or soothing words, or they can be sharp, percussive kind of words. In this case, we're drawing attention to the fact it's the cars that are cruising, it's the gutter that's gargling, it's the houses which are hunched over and coughing. So alliteration. And extending that just a little bit, which is, I missed this one out on a, oops, onomatopoeia, which is words which sound like they're spelt. So there's some examples of onomatopoeia. Especially the gargle. We'll go back to that one, and snarl and cough. So there's some words or some examples of onomatopoeia there, and the effect of that is again to engage the reader in sort of a multi-sensory experience when they read through the poem. So it's a very sensory tool that the poet has used. Okay, so one thing that I want to draw your attention to while I'm doing this is, if you can see, I haven't used the same examples. Let me try and get a different color here. If you can see the examples that I'm using, it's not a different color, but it's okay. You can see. Radiators, green headlights, stare at motorbike, snarls, lizard cars, hunched houses, newspapers shuffle. So what I'm doing is I'm pulling out different examples for each of the different tools that we're talking about. So we're not repeating or duplicating the examples that we're providing for the examiner in our answers. Okay, so that is the first thing that we've done, which is the poetic devices. We can then move on to look at another tool that the poet has used in the analysis. So let's first of all clear the screen. Okay, and then we can talk about the next one, which is, we've already done that one. Okay, so let's think about some of the imagery which the poet is using in the poem City Jungle. Okay, imagery is to do with the senses, so it's all of the taste and sight and sound and touch and feel and so on. So what we're going to do is we're going to just pick out some of the words which relate to that. So I think, for example, gargle and cough and snarl. Okay, those are all examples of what we might hear. Okay, if we think about stare and bare the teeth and shuffle. Okay, things that we might see. You know, those are all visual senses. Okay, yellow teeth. Yellow teeth and cat black. Okay, and colours. So things that we might see in terms of that. And then also maybe lash or lashes. You know, that's something that we might feel. So touch. Okay, so you know, there's a lot of words that the poet has intentionally used. So let's think of the effect here. Okay, what's the effect of the poet using this particular tool of imagery? Okay, the effect is to create powerful images. That's what's called imagery, I suppose. Powerful images in our minds by using words which appeal to our various senses. Okay, and these are good examples of that. So we can refer to all of these different words here as examples of the effect of that. We can link this back or to the general theme. So what we're going to do is we're going to link this through then to the other two areas of this, which is tone and theme. So the final tool that the poet has used. And the imagery, you know, with the senses, the powerful images that the reader feels, tie in with the general theme and tone of the poem, which is that the city is like a jungle. And what we're really saying is that it is a hostile place. And all the words that we've written down for the tone and the theme, it's dangerous, it's hostile, it's intimidating, threatening, scary, unfriendly, unwelcoming. We can put some of these words over here. Unfriendly, unwelcoming, unwelcoming. Okay. Also, and then we extended that idea to the idea that the city was polluted, that it's stained, that it's grimy, dirty, that there's a sickness pervading through the city. So those are all the, the themes and tones that the poet has created through the use of the imagery and the word choices. And what we're going to say here is, the link here is the word choices. So let's just add that word choice, or what we can say in literature is diction. So, that's where we get to. So, and that's the final thing, obviously. Sorry, the word choice means that we've now covered all of the toolkit that the poet has used to create the theme of the poem, which is that the city is like a jungle. It's a very dangerous and hostile place, and we've gone through the poetic devices and the imagery and the word choice, the diction, which supports all of that. So what we've done effectively is we've organized and structured our answer, and we can now think about how we're going to write our answer, which is going to be part 3 of this tutorial on the city jungle poem. And again, just to say that all of the examples that we've given, we'll use them, but they're not the same examples for each tool that we're going to identify. Okay, let's move on, and we'll do tutorial part 3 next. Okay, thank you.